Welcome, welcome. Look at this crew.
Letting all the
I was,
note takers in.
Yeah.
I saw something on LinkedIn. I don't know if it was real or somebody was joking because I didn't know that you could send note takers to the meeting for you. But someone says that they join the meeting early with all the note takers and then just start saying gibberish. So the summary just has like random prefixes.
Yeah, I saw somebody who says they join Google Meet meetings 5 minutes early and say that they are on a ship called the Titanic that is just hit an iceberg and they're sinking before anybody else joins. And I always love seeing how that gets made into the minute notes.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, Mark, should we jump right in?
Yeah, we have a full house today and we've got a lot to cover. So let's get started. Welcome everyone to our monthly HATS AI Partner Roundtable. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces this month. So a couple of housekeeping things. This is the roundtable. This is not a Jimmy Talks at You webinar. This is a place to ask questions and really, share your experiences. The chat is a great place to get some feedback and share your experiences with AI. And the more questions that you ask, the more it'll help everyone else in our partner community. So this is our HATS AI roundtable team. We'll all introduce ourselves as we get to our sections of the roundtable. So if you haven't met us before, hello. And we're gonna kick things off with a quick poll. Let me pull that up. Um, this is a great way to start because we're going to be talking a lot about data and security and privacy today. So it is 2025. Do you know where your data is? And do your clients know where their data is? So take a minute to fill out that poll if you can, and we'll jump right into our partner spotlight. So I'm going to introduce Jimmy, CEO, founder, and one of our partners over at Appalachia Tech, not too far from where I grew up. So really great to get to meet him over the last couple of weeks. Chris, so I'll let you two introduce yourselves too.
Yeah, it's Chris, it's really great to have you here and great to have you on. You've been a great partner for us. A lot of testing, a lot of feedback, a lot of help too. And definitely like showing off what you can do with the platform, which has been awesome. Why don't we start off by you sort of introducing yourself, give some context about Appalachia Tech and your career in MSP.
Sure. So I'm the director of managed services at Appalachia Technologies in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Maybe 45 minutes away from the Mark Leeper birthplace monument around
There's
Chambersburg.
a monument. There is.
Oh yeah, I built it. It's work in progress, but we're doing the best we can. I've been here about 10 years. I manage our support group, our NOC, and our SOC group now. See, I've been here about 10 years, and we've positioned ourselves as like a cybersecurity company. So we do a lot with compliance. We have CMMC audits, readiness assessments, SOC 2 readiness assessments, all kinds of PCI, all the kind of fun compliance stuff that everybody loves so much. We do a lot of that. But the way we got started with hats was we knew AI was a thing. And end of last year, I think it was, we were trying to test out just using the kind of basic chatbot function for our support and NOC teams. And so we had 3 licenses of Chat GPT Teams for $75 a month. And just had a couple of us kind of piloting that when I found out about hats, actually through Empath. That's what we use for our training on our MSP side. And I took a look at that and thought, actually, this is even better because it lets us try out all the different models with only one subscription. So that's kind of where we got started, and started with just 2 people in our support desk having access to hats.
It's great. And so let's talk about that a little bit. Like your onboarding with the platform, what you've seen over the past couple months, and like, you told me a bit of a story on how like it spread internally, just little by little. Could you talk about that too, and like, how adoption has happened?
Yeah, this I will lie now and tell you this was a strategy. But at first, we only had two or three people who were really comfortable with AI using it. And what I noticed happen was they would talk about it amongst themselves. Other people would overhear and then go, hey, Chris, I heard so and so talking about hats. What's that? And so I didn't keep it from people, but we didn't roll it out to everybody. We just kind of let that initial group start. And as people overheard them talking about it, what they were using it for, more and more people came to me and asked for it. So we let it spread, like rumors normally do, but this time it was real. And so by the time it got to sales, I knew everybody had heard about it. All the technical people said, "Hey, I heard you guys are using hats. What does it do? Can I use it?" So we set everybody up, kind of as they came to me and asked um, if they could use it. And then in the beginning, it was more technical people who'd been using this kind of thing on their own. They love having access to all the models and not having to pay for Gemini and Claude and whatever else is out there on top of Chat GPT. So yeah, yesterday I had one of our sales guys reach out to me and say, "Hey, I've never used AI before. Can you show me how it works?" So we had the perfect intro to him with hats.
So can you talk about like that? Like I think that's a great example. Somebody like that asked, do you have like tips and tricks or advice like how to get them started quickly? Like I'm sure a salesperson using AI effectively can become a lot more productive. So like what's the quick start on that, or do you just let them play, or do you send them training? Like where's your head go to get somebody
Yeah,
going
I did
quickly?
tell him that I will remorselessly shill for the hats training. I think that's fantastic. I've before I even knew about hats, I was trying to take some courses myself and see, okay, what's kind of the structure around this other people are using, and I paid for courses that weren't as good as the training we get from hats for free. So I absolutely tell them about that. But for somebody who's completely new, I start with uh, using it to write an email or respond to an email, or I'm not sure exactly what this person meant in this Teams message or this email. Can using AI to kind of help interpret that. Um, Once I showed him, how you can use it to for that, then I asked him, where he thinks he might be able to use it. And I eventually got to the point where we're showing him like the RFP responders and that kind of stuff that's huge for sales. Um, but he said, "Oh, I can see how I could use this writing a message to a prospective client. I want to reach out and set up a call." I said, "Yeah, and it'll get you 80 or 90% of the way there real quick. You're going to want to proofread it and maybe change some phrases here or there that don't sound like you, but it gets you 80-90% of the way there in seconds. That's the biggest win." And just from that, and then I kind of pitched our AI exchange group we're starting up here in a week or so. Um, that a place where everybody across the company can come and show us the different ways they're using AI to give people ideas. That's where I've gotten all my best ideas have been ruthlessly stolen from somebody else. So I would show them how I use it. I'll go into my account and show them the last 10 or 20 chats I've had with it and how I've used it, and that gives them a lot of ideas.
So that's I love that. And it's kind of funny because like I think for technical people it's like right to training, right? I think we're ingrained to like, okay, let's read the docs, let's do training. But average users, it's not always the case. And I'd be curious, like I know that you're working on a rollout over the summer to, some customers. I'd be curious on your approach to that, and maybe you could talk about that a little bit and what the discussions are like internally, how you're teeing things up, that sort of thing.
Sure. So we started end of last year with hats. And the first group we rolled it out to was our support group because they were using ChatGPT anyway. So I told them, stop. If you're using something free, do not do that. We'll give you this paid version. It's not going to have to come out of your pocket. Some of them still pay for it on their own, but I wanted to make sure that we knew we were not putting our data in public models that are going to be trained on it. So we gave it to them first, just to kind of see how it went. And I tracked some numbers. I didn't even tell them I was doing it, but we found out that we saw a 10 to 20% reduction in response and resolution times, depending on how you measure, just by giving them access to a chatbot. So this is not the big, this is where this is starting. This is not the end goal. We want to build up more automations and that kind of stuff, but just giving them a troubleshooting partner through the chat bot had a big real impact. So for us, for our team, we have about 5 people on our support team. That's like hiring somebody else. That's the
Yeah.
equivalent of a full-time employee. So then when I told management that, all of a sudden we found we found some energy to get behind this AI thing. And again, it wasn't even a heavy lift for us. It was really just we let them have the tool and pointed them to the free training. It was not a lot of setup on our side. Like, all of these AI tools that we get pitched as MSPs are really just the same old broken, with an LLM attached to it. Or yeah, if you spend 6 months setting this up, you'll save 5 minutes per task. Like, okay, that's not really exciting, but to have basically zero setup and get a 10 or 20% efficiency gain was huge. So we've started there. And then the next step was, okay, this is a real thing for us. If we're going to roll this out, we need an acceptable use policy. So I brought in 2 of our guys who work on CMMC and SOC 2 auditing and readiness assessments. And no one will be shocked to learn that our first draft of AI acceptable use policy came from AI. And then we said, okay, we need to tweak this a little bit for our particular use case. Some of the language in there, like you should not use AI to deceive someone, and impersonate a client or something like that. We just added a line, unless they've explicitly agreed to it. Like for penetration testing, we may want to spoof something. It's just little tweaks like that, but it got us. We did that whole process of creating that acceptable use policy in less than a week, with 2 other people having input into that. So that's a land speed record for us anyway. So it's ironically sped us up on the acceptable use policy. And then we have 2 internal groups that I rolled out to everybody that are going to start meeting here in the next week or so. We are going to do an AI exchange. That's for everybody in the company. You don't have to be invited to that. Anybody can just come show up and show us what you're working on. We noticed that a lot of these conversations were happening at happy hours or cookouts, or kind of off to the side, or people talking about what fun, weird thing they've used AI for. And we're sharing ideas, and some of it's off the wall and just fun. Some of it's real productivity. But those conversations were kind of happening all spread out throughout the company. We want to have one place where everybody can come and have that conversation all together, especially for people who are new to it, who are intimidated by it. The more techie of us have no problem just hopping in and giving it a shot, but people who aren't in those technical roles are not nearly as comfortable with it. They're kind of intimidated by it. They've heard it's going to take their job. They don't know exactly what the functionality of it looks like yet. So we wanted a safe space for them to come and try it out and see what everybody else is doing. And then we have an AI task force, which is some more technical people who are going to get together and work on business case uses for this, like the RFP proposal and putting all our SOW language in there. Turns out we've been paying for a product that's supposed to help you develop SOWs. And we looked at that and said, oh, we can do that in hats. We don't need to pay $300 a month for this SOW tool. So again, management's loving that too, that we're saving money on some of these extraneous tools that just treat AI like a bolt-on. It's not really the core product. It's just they slapped something on it so they can say, yeah, this is using AI. Yeah, and Mark, you're right. We sent a bunch of people through that prompt engineering. I bribed them with T-shirts. I went to Kaseya Connect and met Kelsey and said, "Hey, do you mind if I have like 8 T-shirts?" And I came back with the T-shirts and said, once you pass level 3 and your hat's prompt engineering, let me know and I'll give you a free T-shirt. And she was also nice enough to get me a purple sparkly hat. So thank you, Kelsey. That was real fun going through TSA with that, let me tell you. But yeah, so we have a couple different use case groups kind of rolling out here in the future, and we're hoping to roll this out by about September to clients. I don't think it's going to take long. We're going to be held back a little bit by vacations in the summer, but this is the fastest moving product we've ever had to get out the door to our MSP.
Yeah, it sounds like you have built internal, like I think a lot of people get nervous on rolling out to clients sometimes with building internal competencies when people ask questions and stuff. And it sounds like you had a really good like run through your MSP where you built that competency to even the salespeople know how to talk about it and can provide examples of how they're using it themselves.
Yeah.
What do you guys have like a strategy defined yet on your client rollout?
Yeah, so part of what we're doing internally first is we're going to make sure we have some use cases that are just for sales, so that when our salespeople are out there trying to sell something, they have some firsthand experience of how it's helped them. So we're going to work on the RFP, the SOWs. We're making sure that sales is taken care of. because if they're not, either they won't sell it or they'll come back to me with questions. Either way, I'd prefer them to be able to sell it on their own. So we're starting there, but we've already identified a couple clients who have been asking us about an AI tool. So we're kind of picking who has a really good use case for it, which clients will not even blink at the price. That won't be a deterrent for them. And really, our first pitch is going to be, your team is already using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude free. What if you could pay this amount of money instead of even getting ChatGPT teams for them, and save some money and give them a secure platform instead of having them spray your company data all across the internet? That's an easy in. Even the sales guys who haven't used AI yet are in on that. They say, "Oh, that's an easy sell. We'd love to take that to our clients." So we've identified some that we think are going to be pretty easy adopters, and we're going to start with them. Go through. There's going to be some hiccups with everything, but we're going to kind of package it as Hats AI, and then some engineering time along with that, some consulting time to help them build out the workflows, do some trainings, that kind of stuff. Going to package that all together and sell it. But we've identified people who we think we're going to be a light touch to sell it to, and then people who are good partners that we know they'll have some forgiveness with us as we're rolling this out for the first time, because there's going to be some bumps in the road, and not the product necessarily, but us delivering it. It's new for us, so there's something we haven't thought of yet.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. We have a lot to cover today, and I have really a ton to go through in products. So I want to make sure we get to it. So I'm gonna wrap up here. Any final words or final advice?
Yeah, people are way more open to this than you might think. If you, we're really used to people being scared of new technology, and there is some fear hype around AI. But I have been pleasantly surprised how many people you would not expect to be into this really want to hear about it, talk about it, and work with a trusted partner who will help guide them through the process so they're doing it safely and securely, and break down that intimidation around it. So this is a perfect product for us right now. And thanks to everybody on the team. I've talked with Mark and JP and Jimmy and Kelsey, the nicest product team, nicest vendor team I've dealt with in quite a while. You guys are so easy to work with. Thanks for making it easy for us to partner with you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Look at Mark
Thanks.
flashing hearts on the screen. I'll hand it back to you, Mark, and you can tell us where we're going.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, and thanks, Jimmy. I'll send out, Chris, your LinkedIn after this if anyone wants to connect. So, like Jimmy said, we've got a ton to cover on product. So I'm going to move through this rather quickly on partner resources, but we do have a lot of new partners on this roundtable. And if you log into admin and you don't see this button that says go to user view, you're probably thinking, what are we talking about? What is the chat? What do you mean? You're missing all of that if you don't have this button. So there's a quick 2-minute setup tutorial video that we'll share. If you're missing this button, you're missing half of hats. So that's step 1 to roll this out internally. Step 2 is inviting your team. Like Chris said, it doesn't have to be everybody. I love Tim. It doesn't have to be everybody all at once, but once you get your team involved, the use cases, the ideation, everything starts really picking up. It takes a lot of cross collaboration to really roll it out. And then finally, you just start using it, right? You'll find use cases that work for you. You'll find them for your department. So just go and try things. If you don't know where to go to get support, well, we have a lot of it. So we have something called AI in a Box, and I'll drop that link, or JP will, in the chat. It's where you can go to get a lot of documents, a lot of decks and files and onboarding checklists. We have office hours. I'll talk about that in a second. Docs.hats.ai for our articles that we keep up to date. Lark Meeper for the chat bot, and we have a growing Discord community. So there's lots of places where you can go to ask questions and get support either from us or from your peers. There is a new 20-minute course in the learning portal just for MSPs. It's called MSP Express. Even if you've started this a year ago with us, the platform has changed a lot because AI has changed a lot. And so this is the most updated how to start with hats for everyone on your team. So I recommend taking 20 minutes sometime this week to just go through this this quick course. And then finally, we are expanding office hours. We used to have them on Tuesdays and Fridays. We still do, but they're structured a little bit differently because of growing demand for more specific time, dedicated time for use case ideation and prompt engineering support. So we now have feature Fridays. Every Friday, you can sign up for a recurring invite. That's because we're shipping new features almost every week. And so Fridays are the time to come and learn about how they work, learn about older features, and meet with a bigger group. And then Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern, you can sign up for a one-off meeting directly with someone from HATS to work through some prompt engineering. We will expand that if we need to into more times, but it's great to see some of you at those. And I'm going to hand it over to Jimmy.
All right, let me pull up my screen share here. 1 second. Oops. All right. All right. Can we all see that okay? Good. Okay, cool. So I did want to just cover one thing real quick. We got a lot of questions from people. So for those who don't know, the New York Times sued OpenAI. And basically they demanded that they kept logs of chat outputs. Basically the New York Times is in an ongoing lawsuit saying that if you type in OpenAI in their API or their chat, you can get full articles of the New York Times, and it's a copyright complaint. So that's been an ongoing lawsuit. And then more recently, on June 5th, a judge ordered that the New York Times had to retain user data so that in the actual lawsuit they could do discovery and basically look for chat logs where someone was looking for the output of a New York Times post. So what does this mean? Well, so there's two types of data retention that happens with OpenAI. One is for training purposes. This is opt-in. The other is moderation. And for moderation, OpenAI will store chat logs normally from 1 to 30 minutes. And they're looking for things like someone, doing something with children or making a bomb or things like that, and looking for abuse of the platform. So there is a special agreement that you can get from OpenAI where the moderation earnestness falls on the company who has that agreement. That is called a zero data retention agreement, and we do have this agreement in place with OpenAI. So if you're curious, your customers are curious about the New York Times lawsuit, we have the agreement in place, which exempts us from that data retention. So I just wanted to cover that real quick because I think a lot of people had questions about it, and I just wanted to clear it up. Also, if customers ask. Let's get into product. There's a ton here. So we've been busy the past 30 days. We added a bunch of new models. We improved the chat with inline tool calling and showing the thinking tokens. We added some quality of life stuff that people were asking, like being able to just edit the draft names of workflows or apps so they don't have the draft section that just says new draft 100 times. Being able to set default LLMs, being able to disable specific LLMs, either globally or within an organization, setting mandatory MFA, and then also images and workflows. I don't even think I have a slide for that, but being able to use images at input. Shout out to ImageQuest, found out a really good use case for that, which was really interesting. And then also our new integrations tab and our first integration, which was Outlook. So I'm going to go a little quick here, but feel free to pop questions in the chat along the way, and we will get going. So we added a bunch of new models. Um, O3 and O4 Mini, which are really, really powerful models from OpenAI. I've personally found that Claude 4 Sonnet and GPT O3 are by far the best models at tool calling. They're really, really good at it. And O4 Mini follows that closely. And actually, O4 Mini is a very efficient model, which is great. Gemini 2.5 Pro, NFlash. These are the new Google models. Google really shocked the AI world, coming out with new AI models that were really high in the benchmarks. They're long context window models, which means you can feed them a lot of information. They basically can take in as much chat as like 5 times as much as comparable models by OpenAI or Anthropic, which is really cool. Um, and then we added the Llama 4 family. Uh, this was a sort of underwhelming release by Meta, but we did want to update it to support Llama 4. I do think Llama 3.2 is still a bit better than Llama 4, but it is a great open source model as far as the overall of all open source models go. And it will probably be distilled and newer models will come out of it, similar to what happened with DeepSeek, which was actually trained using Llama 3. Um, so we'll keep adding new AI models. We target 0-day releases, meaning the day the model comes out, we add it in the platform. So we'll keep trying to deliver on that for you guys, for you all. Also, we now display thinking tokens. So a lot of models will reason, which is basically the model thinking before it responds. Uh, I would look at, they come in a little drop down bar in the chat, like where it just says thinking. Um, these will sometimes not say all the best things, and it's basically that the model reasoning before it generates its response. So it's like a pre-response where it frames its answer before it actually does it. But it's really interesting to see how the model thinks, especially if you're using something like Claude 4. Sonnet, or you're using a OpenAI reasoning model, because it'll like stop and then think again and then stop and think again and think and then do a tool call, which is just a really fun thing to see. And I'll share some demos of that in a second here. We also added the ability to disable LLMs and set default. So in your admin console, you'll see the ability to globally disable or globally set a default LLM. If you disable a model in your admin console, it'll disable it for all of your tenants. And if you set a default model in your admin console, it'll make it default for all tenants unless they have their own default model selected. So if one of your tenants wants to change their default model and you already have a global one, they can totally do that. If you want to edit it for your MSP specifically, and not globally, you would do that in your company tenant, and it will make the change there. If you do it globally, it'll change all tenants. You also, in the tenant view, will have these settings per tenant. So you can go and set them up if a specific firm doesn't want data to touch OpenAI or doesn't want data to touch Grok or something like that. You can go turn them off for those companies very easily in the tenant view. We also, we added inline tool calling. I think this was a really important update because we used to do this stuff behind the scenes, and we used to have like basically an agent node of a bunch of different AI agents that were like talking to each other and saying, "Hey, look at this website. Let me look at this website. Let me look at this website," and then sending the summary of it all coming to the actual chat. And this, it was like, okay, it looks like it's generating forever. Sometimes it wouldn't do the right thing. You didn't really know what it was searching. So now, if you enable like AI powered search or one of the integrations, it will actually do this in real time. So our AI powered search, it's, it has a ton of tools under the hood. It actually enables about 30 tools that the AI model can use. So, when you use tools, it'll take a little bit longer to respond because it's looking at all the different tools it has. We have an update coming next month to try to speed a lot of that stuff up. But just to give you an idea, so the model will think for a second. It'll say, okay, the user wants me to use Perplexity and then use all these other tools. And then it will actually run a request to Perplexity and say, tell me about XYZ or what's happening. So if you're in a chat, you're using AI powered search, you want to know what Perplexity has, just say, what does Perplexity say about this? And it will actually tell you. So you can see it actually ask Perplexity, what's the current status of the mayor's race? And then it gets some context and says, okay, these are the people running, these are the front runners. Now it's doing a search. So the search function is actually Google search. It's running this Google search, and then it's got the results from it. And you can actually see what results it got back. And then it's running another type of search called Firecrawl search, where it can actually scrape these entire websites. So if it's running Firecrawl search, it'll go and look at the entire context of what is available. So this, Firecrawl search can take a couple seconds, but it will be very, very comprehensive. We also do a lot of stuff on context window management to make sure the AI isn't, pulling back too much information that the AI can't read, that it can't read. So, like, for example, when you saw it said 25,000 characters, it got too much information from one of the websites and ended up cutting it down. So finally, it uses search again, does another search, and then says, okay, I've gathered everything. I'm going to create the actual report. And then this was as of this morning. It has all of the latest information, what's happening. This was the primary election in New York City happened yesterday. So, it tells us sort of what the main issues are and when the actual election is happening. So I'm going to stop here for a second. I saw some questions. Global knowledge base. I'll cover that in. Yeah, we're working on that. I'll cover that in upcoming releases. O3 Pro. Let me get an update on that. I'll check with the engineering team. We should be able to do that. And then how to see what tools are available. Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that would be in our docs. Also, if you just turn on AI powered search and you say, what tools do you have access to? It should give you a list of all the tools that are currently there. We're tweaking it a little bit behind the scenes to constantly bring the best of breed tools and making them faster and that kind of stuff. So when you just use the actual AI powered search button, it'll give you sort of different things. We'll always note it in a release notes if that's changed. But we will be adding in agents, which I'll show you in a bit, some more info on exactly what tools you can add. And there will be a tool selector coming soon. Another big update. A lot of MSPs obviously asked for this, enabling MFA globally or per tenant. So if you go into the tenant view, you can enable MFA for everyone. Once you enable it, within about 30 minutes, it will require everyone to set up their MFA or on their next login, but everyone should be required to have it within about 30 minutes from enabling that. You can also enable it just for specific tenants or just for your MSP tenant. If you enable it just for your MSP tenant, it will, there you go. Josh said he turned AI powered search on and says, what tools do I have access to? And it gave him a list of all of them. Yeah, use AI. There we go. So one thing I just wanted to make clear about the MFA enforcement is if you just want to set up MFA for your MSP only and not for everyone globally, you'll do that in the tenant view. The users are the same user, so it'll enable MFA enforcement for everyone in your admin tenant. But if you enable it globally, it will downstream enable MFA for all of your customers, which isn't really a terrible thing. But that option is now available, and similar features like that with the default disabled LLMs, MFA enforcement, they'll follow that same pattern where you have the global setting in the admin portal. You can manage the settings for each tenant in the tenant view, or if you're a general admin of a tenant, being able to change it there. So the next is the integrations tab. I'll show you a bit. So we added Office 365 Outlook initially, and we have a lot more coming here. So you'll see this integrations tab. You can go and set up Outlook. We also custom wrote this integration to make it good. I tested a lot of Outlook tools and they weren't really good. It would pull back the wrong calendar information. It would do searches in a weird way. I found that Claude 4 Sonnet is the best for tool calling, or really O3, but Claude 4 is a little bit more efficient. And you can you can search through your emails, you can list emails and it'll pull back your recent emails. We added stuff behind the scenes, like if it's only pulling 10 emails, it'll just pull back the entire email. If it's pulling more than that, then it'll pull back like brief summaries of them. Um, uh, there is list calendar invites, sort of see what's upcoming in your calendar, send calendar invites. It can also create draft emails. So, I was going back and forth. Do we just enable it to send? I don't think users are ready for that now. So what we did is if you ask it to send an email, it will create a draft of the email. We did a lot of testing too on creating calendar invites. What time zone does it use? Does it prefer meeting locations? Things like that. So, we've tweaked it so the AI will typically ask you if you say send a calendar invite to Jim, it'll say like, well, what's Jim's email? What time zone do you want it in? Before it sends it. So just to give you an idea, once you've enabled the integration, you'll see this Outlook button. You can say create calendar invite with Arian, my founding engineer here, 2 p.m. Eastern time today to talk about whatever. Integrations is probably what I wrote. And then it will go and it will actually create the calendar invite. David asked for the Outlook integration. Is there anything to prevent hallucinations from sending emails or calendar invites? Yes, there are. So it won't send an email for you. It'll create a draft. And then you can ask it for a link to the draft. Um, uh, Someone asked a question about file access, SharePoint or local files. I don't know what the question was. So, I can ask it, what is the link to the calendar invite? And then the AI will be able to give me the link directly there. And you can see the Outlook was created or oh, okay. The M365 integration. File access is because we're doing one integration to do SharePoint. There's no extra cost for the Outlook integration. So, Carl, your question was around the requested permissions. The file access is so when right now there's a separate integration in the front end. Or sorry, there's a separate integration in the chat to load your files from. This is so you only have to do it once. Is there an extra cost? No, there is not. And then, yeah, you can see that the calendar invite was created. Another sort of integration here, or another example here is on creating a draft email. You can also, pull in recent emails and ask it to make multiple drafts. We're going to be adding memory and configurable settings too, so you can store things like your time zone, your email signature, etc. And then so the AI doesn't need to like go back and forth on this every time. Also, like your email style. But we wanted to get something that works really well without not needing to do a bunch of stuff. So if I ask it to draft an email, it'll go and create the draft for me. Again, it's using tools. We're going to speed all of this up. I have a whole sprint reserved for my team on time to first token to speed up tool responses and just responses in general, which I'll cover in a minute. So it'll create the email for Mark. And again, it won't send it. It will just create it, save it as a draft. So sometimes it takes a minute for the Microsoft API to respond. So it'll go in and you'll get a response of the actual email. You'll see you can see exactly what arguments it included, so you can like make sure that it did it right and didn't do the wrong thing. And then if I go to my drafts folder right away, I'll have this draft email. And then you see like, the whole draft is there. You can do a bunch of them as possible. A lot of questions here. Let me catch up through them. Be able to edit calendar meeting invites. So we didn't add edit calendar invites because there's a lot of complexity that goes with it, with back and forth, and then also it auto sends. Um, so we could add that in the future. If you go to the release notes, it shows you exactly the tools that it can use. Also, if you just turn on the Outlook integration, ask what can you do, it'll show you exactly the sort of like tools that it has access to. So it has access to create a draft of an email, search through your emails, list your recent emails. If the number of emails that's listing is less than 10, it'll pull in the entire email of all of those. If it's more than 10, it will pull in the subject lines and then the IDs so it can read them a second time. So the AI might say, list emails, look on your 49th email, look something important, and then actually query to read that one specifically and then keep going. So we have it configured now where it can do up to 4 tool calls in a row. And it's pretty good at like looking at like, okay, this happened, now I need to pull this other information. It can decline calendar invites. We felt good about that one. It can create calendar invites. It cannot edit them right now. We may add that. We want to do some more tweaking, make sure people are comfortable with it, that sort of stuff. And the search is good too. It has a bunch of options to a bunch of different arguments for searching. So you can, find good email, good stuff. You can say stuff like, what's my next meeting and what are my recent emails from that meeting, from the people I'm meeting with, stuff like that. We also provided a list in the docs of tons of sample questions you can ask. So love feedback on this, love ways we can improve it. Again, we custom wrote this entire thing because they're just like, the Outlook AI integrations for the most part were just like not good. Like they would do basic searches. They wouldn't like a lot of the work was put on the AI to just figure it out, and we went to programmatically remove that work. Mark shared prompting best practices for it. We are going to add this integration in workflows. And then we will also create a separate workflow node for sending an email too. So you can add a send email step with your own email address in a workflow. So that's future stuff, and that's why that send permission is still there. In the context of reading and summarize email, can transcribe a voice file attached to an email or just access the files from email in general. Right now, it does not have access to the files in the email. We may add that in the future. Confirm the context, the Outlook. Is it? Yeah, it's running for the logged in user. So if you have a specific integration, right now, all of the integrations are local to the user. for some types of integrations in the future, we will add a share with team option. So when we add integrations to things that are like a shared API key, we'll add the ability where you can share that out with your team. But for and again, there'll be lots of warnings in the product, like, you know, if you want to share this, like, other people will be able to access this. But yes, it is for the logged in user who connected the mailbox that you connected the integration with. So that was some of the stuff in the last 30 days. We we've been really busy. We're gonna add a lot of integrations, and they're gonna come pretty quick. Like we did all the underlying work to make it so we can add these integrations quickly. We just want to speed up the execution to make them really fast and the chat work really fast. So right now are sort of like what you can expect in the next couple updates in the coming days and weeks is code execution in spreadsheets. You know, it's on us that we haven't had this. It's a huge lacking, but we will have this by next week, where basically if you have a spreadsheet, the AI can generate Python code to run queries on it and analyze it. We're also doing a big speed update. You know, just being completely transparent with everyone, we do a ton of security checks, and it, you know, can slow down the chat time to response, and we want to make the chat time to response really, really, really fast. So we're doing a lot of optimizations to ensure we can keep that same security, but make it a lot faster. So I am deep in the weeds working on the engineering team with that, and we've done some things already that we should be rolling out in our next updates. We're also adding agents. Again, I've said this a couple times, but I'll keep repeating myself. Our long-term plan is to make it so workflows work with every sort of integration you could imagine, and it's plain text. You don't have to hard code things. You just add like the Outlook tool and you say search for whatever in the prompt node, and then being able to add the workflows as tools for the agent along with other tools. So that's where we're driving towards. That's the plan we set out in December, and we're well on our way there. So I have a big update on GPT style agents, like sort of plus plus, because they get a lot more functionality. And then AI phone agents. I will also recognize that AI phone agents, it has been our it's gotten the least amount of updates since it was released, and we started working on a lot of new features for it that I want personally, because I use it every day as my voicemail replacement. Such as, like, you know, being able to change the conversation buffers, being able to insert words or pronounce things better, that kind of stuff. And we decided to do a big update of the entire phone agent code base first, so we could build those features a lot faster and a lot better. So that's happening. And then we're also working on a huge update on our chat too, being able to do things like switch to an Asian in the chat, change models mid chat, do variations of chat, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, our different integrations and custom HTTP requests, the Word document, find and replace, and PDF form fill, all of that stuff's coming along, and will be moving along quickly. People asked about file libraries. So there's two things that we're doing. One, in our new chat update, you'll be able to have sources and be able to basically manage what files are in the chat at different things. And then we're also working on integrations with vector databases or external databases that you can just add as tools. And then actually having the file libraries in your console. We want to add in our file integrations first. So a lot of these files live in cloud environments, so we want to make it easy to access them from there instead of trying to copy them all to hats, then they're out of dates and things like that. So our approach to it isn't to build our own sort of like massive vector database and make you constantly sync. It's if files live in external sources and that's their home, we want to make it really easy to pull them in, add folders, that kind of stuff. A lot of questions. Is the platform HIPAA compliant? We do not have a HIPAA attestation from our SOC 2 report. We are considering doing it in our next SOC 2 audit, which is coming up in a couple months. I'll share updates with that. Phone agent demo, we're hoping for next week, the phone agents, and next week, actually, the GPT style agents as well. So I'll share some of that. This is the new phone agent. So again, this is going to be a lot of like the configuration and editing that we're going to release first. And then once we get all of that done, we will add in a lot of the new features and stuff that should make it perform a lot better on the actual calls. But again, we're talking days and weeks for this, not months. Like our intention is to release this into production in the coming days. So now you have a whole new setup page. It's a lot easier. We abstracted out a lot of the like confusing things like max tokens and temperature and that kind of stuff. We built in templates that you can use to get started or to reset your phone agent. We still have the granular settings on like being able to change the system prompt and the opener message and all that kind of stuff, but now it's a lot easier because you can load in templates. And I'll just speed up a little bit here, just being in the interest of time. And then your voice configuration too. We have filters on the different voices, being able to see like, fun, like all the different types of voices. The speed, like maybe you shouldn't have the ability to set speed to 10x, right? So we made that really simple. The call transfer option. I know people are asking for being able to add in a lot of like a call transfer directory. Again, that's something in the second phase, but this release of the major update of the UI configuration, all of that will be first. And then we are expecting additional updates to it throughout the month of July. So that's like the configuration setup. And then actually in the tenant view, you can edit it, of course. And then your actual phone agents, we added a lot of quality of life things or things you would expect, being able to look at the call history, being able to look at what the actual conversation was too. We added a UI here where you can see the message timeline, sort of like, what happened right in the dashboard. And then we also added the status, if it was like transferred or canceled or whatever. That's all in there as well. Additionally, a lot of people have asked for this, so let me get to it. The ability to share phone agents with a specific user will be in this update too. So you will be able to set up, hey, only these users in my organization or this organization that we have as a customer can access this phone agent. So that is all going to be there in the first round of updates. A lot of questions here. How can we get more phone number options? Can we port a number? We can talk offline about that. Is there a way to? All right, we'll follow up with some of these on a lot of this. We'll follow up with these because I want to show agents too. So this is the new phone agent platform, or sorry, not phone agent, actual GPT style agents that will be coming out soon. In here, you'll be able to get all of the GPT style settings you're used to on being able to add links. This is actually a newer feature. You can add a specific link. And it will add it as a source and scrape it and save it to the agent's memory. you can add different tools. So being able to add web search or other tools as we add them in, and then different files as well. And you we're in the future, we're going to add the ability to add workflows in here in addition. So we expect to release this in the next couple days. And it will be available to users. You can test the agents and tweak it sort of as you go. And you can see right in the chat of how the agent performs. So while you can literally edit the system prompt and like continue chatting and seeing like what's happening with the agent. And then let me fast forward a little bit in the interest of time. Oh my God. I jumped backwards too much. Oh my God. Apologies here. Trying to show a lot in a little bit of time. We're just going to do it this way. So you will be able to, oh my God, I restarted. Okay, I'm just going to show from here. Sorry, guys. You'll be able to see the agents in your model selector as you start adding them, and then start a chat with the agent right from the chat dashboard. So all of this coming in days, plus a lot more. I saw that there's tons of questions, and we are pretty much out of time. So I'm gonna make sure um, uh, we are going to make sure that we follow up with these questions offline. But a lot of updates coming, a lot of updates already here. I feel like it's hard to keep up some time with partners on like the different features that are already out. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Sorry we ran out of time.
We'll get a YouTube recording of this out on our playlist and on Discord, and that'll be out tomorrow. JP and I will also record the go-to-market section of this, which we ran out of time for. There's a lot to cover on that side too. So we'll record that and send it out. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and thanks, Jimmy, for all your explanations about these updates.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And then the last thing I'll say is we plan our roadmap weeks at a time. We have a general direction of where everything goes. So we know sort of what's happening the next 2 to 4 weeks, and then have a good idea of what's coming after that. But the speed at which AI is sort of happening, we don't like know timelines after 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So we have general directions. I usually cover that in the roadmap discussion, but that's all, folks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Loving it.